Do you believe in miracles? Do you believe miracles even exist? And it's one of those questions that is subjective, because what do we constitute as a miracle? That's what we're going to unpack. Let's get into it. Hi and welcome to Oak Law Door. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Claire Attio. For those that are returning subscribers, thank you. And miracles, what constitutes a miracle? Do you actually believe in miracles? We can look through history and people talk about miracles. For me, I see miracles in everyday things, and I see them every day occurring. Somebody having a shift in a mindset when they have been entrenched in one lane, one avenue that we can see as a detached observer is going down a really rough path, and yet something occurs, a miracle for me, that something is a miracle that occurs. The light gets switched on within them and they do a course correct and they change direction and they start to unpack everything that had them walking down that road of self-destruction, and they take the layers off, layer by layer by layer, and they get to know who they are as a soul being. And it was interesting, this video was inspired not so much by meditation, although I did meditate before I came online, but by a movie that I watched last night, Something Miracles. It's got Maggie Smith in it, good old Maggie Smith, fantastic actress. And it was a group, it was set in the 60s, and a group of very impoverished Irish women went to Lourdes for the miracles. There was a young mother there that wanted her son to be able to talk because he wasn't speaking. There was another that was going because she had a breast lump and she was too scared to go to the doctor. There was another that was going and she just lost her best friend. And there were lots of dynamics within the movie, and I'm not going to go into the movie. If you like that kind of thing, it's a really good watch. But obviously there we have the cave of the Virgin Mary, the tale being that miracles occur there. What was interesting as I watched that movie, when we first pulled up, and it'd be interesting to know where they actually did all the filming, whether they actually did all the filming in France or whether they used other places, because there was one scene where the bus pulled up and I thought, crikey, that's Asturias, the Picos de Europa in Spain, and a place called Cangas de Onís. And when you go up from there, there is a cave there, and there's much religious connotation with that. But the cave itself, when you can actually get in there, when you are able to have some peace and quiet without the hustle and bustle of tourism. And for me, I connect with the stone, the rock of the cave, rather than the religious artifacts that are in there. It tells its own story. And in that particular cave, I didn't feel the Virgin Mary at all. What I actually felt was, and the story that unfolded in my mind's eye, was the story of Mary Magdalene making her way to England before she continued on up to Scotland after the crucifixion. And there was lots of information that came in through there that was helpful for me, was a miracle to me. Now, whether it's just a story that I'm running in my head that I find comforting, that I find nurturing, that I find that gives me strength, who's to know? But it's a story I'm choosing to believe because it does help me, it does comfort me, it does give me strength. And I think this was the key element within the movie that I was watching yesterday. It wasn't about the factual miracles. It was about the little miracles that transpire through having a belief. Obviously, that is based on the Virgin Mary and traditional religion. But it doesn't matter what it is. It's just about belief. It's a belief, any belief that has you reconnecting with yourself. And it doesn't matter whether it's true, because like miracles, truth is subjective. We've had that conversation on these videos many, many times. But it's about having a belief that brings you back to your truth, back to your essence, back to your soul, self being, so that you can self-actualize in this physical plane, in this lifetime. That's where growth lies. That is where spiritual development, personal development, emotional intelligence, where we're able to emotionally regulate ourselves and bring peace into our lives. It all lays in that self-actualization. It's about seeing those little miracles. Miracles for me is the changing of the season and how the plant life goes through its cycles of birth, bloom, death, the same as we do, the same as every living sentient being. What are we choosing to see? Or are we walking around completely asleep with our eyes open, running the programs that have been taught to us, that are brought to us? It's an interesting concept. For somebody who's sitting in a wheelchair, okay, their deepest desire may be not to need the wheelchair. But a miracle for them is that in one given day, everybody they engage with actually engages with them. They don't look over the top of their head. They don't look down at their feet because they don't know how to say and they feel uncomfortable. They actually engage with them. And they treat them as an equal, and they treat them as a valued member of society. That's a miracle for that person. That's why I say miracles are subjective. And are we seeing them? And if we're not seeing them, what are we actually doing in our life that is actually taking us away from that magic? That magic that can light up our souls, ignite our souls, ignite our very being, and help us move closer towards that self-actualization, which this physical life is all about. That's why we birth and rebirth, so that we can step closer and closer and closer to that self-actualization. We can evolve as individuals and as a collective. It's an interesting journey to go down. Many of the things, many of the values by which I live my life cannot be proven. They're very subjective. But I made a conscious decision to choose to believe in those things because they work for me. And I can't tell you how to live your lives or what to choose. All I can do is hopefully inspire you to just take a few moments and to look at yourselves with true eyes, not those rose-coloured ones that we all have a habit, included, of wearing, with true eyes, and go, okay, what's actually working and what's not working, and making the hard decisions to create change with those things that aren't working. Because they will be hard, because they will involve friends, they will involve family, and there will be times when you think, crikey, is there going to be anybody else left in my life? So there will be challenges there. There's a lot being asked of each and every one of us. But if we step up to the mark, I'm living proof that it's worth it. And I don't mean that by material gain. I mean that about my peace of mind. I mean that about my unshakable foundation. I mean that it doesn't matter what people have been trying to throw and make stick. I've got through it. I'm getting through it. And I'm doing it in peace. I'm doing it without it really affecting me. Yes, of course, I'm aware it's there. And yes, of course, I need to take action sometimes. It's their-ish, it's not mine. That's what true abundance looks like. When we can live in peace, when we have a solid foundation, when we don't second guess ourselves. Are we sometimes wrong? Absolutely, of course we are. But even when we're wrong, when you're in that peace, you're kind of like, well, even if I go to my deathbed and I've got that wrong, as soon as I die, I will be shown that I got that wrong and I will have a chance to rectify it. Those are my beliefs. Again, my beliefs, but it helps me. What are your beliefs? What's going to help you to attain that peace, to attain that level of groundedness and stability in your life, so you feel like you're winning? I'll leave that with you. If you've liked the video, hit that like button. If you've not yet subscribed, press the subscription button and the notification bell to be notified when a new video goes up. Until next time, beautiful souls, blessings.